Right, okay, we're just getting ready to fit the engine in the frame. But before we do, I just wanted to draw attention to this spacer here, which is no surprise to me. It's missing from this bike because it's missing from a lot of bikes I've seen. And that space is very important. It goes between the engine and the frame. And obviously, if you miss that spacer out, when you come to tighten this bolt up, then you're compressing the frame and twisting the frame, trying to bring it in, because that spacer is missing. So it's not tightening against the engine, and you keep tightening and tightening, and it's going to twist the frame, put it under a huge amount of stress. So that's the spacer, and it fits here on the right hand side. Okay, it goes on the right hand side of the frame, engine, spacer, and the spacer fits on that side. Now, why is there a spacer? Well, I'm not sure. Well, I mean, one reason is because the engine on a Trident is set just over half an inch. Just over 1/8 of an inch. The engine is offset over to the side. So on a Trident, the engine isn't dead straight with the frame. It's actually 1/8 of an inch over to the left. Okay, now why is that? I think that is mainly due to the rear sprocket. Now on a Trident, the rear sprocket, which isn't on yet, which goes here, the drive where the chain goes on, is very near the centre of the engine. Because on the Trident you've got that big dry clutch that goes here, so everything's kind of moved over a bit. And so that final drive sprocket is actually pretty near the centre, and so it's in danger of rubbing against the rear wheel. So they've had to move. And this is the same for the Rocket 3. They've had to move the engines over by 1/8 of an inch. I think it's actually 5/32. I think. Don't quote me on it. But anyway, it's moved over very slightly to the left, so that the chain clears the rear wheel, and that's one reason why it's difficult to sometimes to fit a particularly large wheel on a Trident. Is this an 18-inch on here? No, that's a 9. No, that's a 19. No, that's okay. That's a 19-inch wheel. Yeah, it can be. You're in danger of the chain rubbing on the rear tyre, and so that's why the engine's offset, because that sprocket is so near the centre of the engine. Okay. Anyway, long story short, there's a spacer that goes there, and it goes onto the right side there. Make sure it's always there. Okay, and here we have the engine now fitted. All went in okay. There was myself. I got a neighbour to help, just on the safe side, just to avoid damaging the frame, etc. I just put a couple of towels over the frame, and then just lifted it in. And then when we got the front engine bolt in, and then lifted the engine and got the towels out. There's of course this front engine mounting. This comes off completely, so that gives good access, and then it bolts back on there, and then we get that big, and we've got the big bolt in the bottom. And after some work, managed to get that spacer in, but I think the frame, maybe I think that spacer has been left out for a long time because it didn't want to go in. I think maybe the frame has been crushed. I'm not sure, but anyway, we got it in after a struggle. So I haven't fully tightened up. These are torqued up, the engine mountings quite tight, but I haven't tightened them up because we'll get the rear engine plates on, the rear mounting plates on first, and then tighten the whole thing up, because it gives us a little bit of wiggle room to get those on. Otherwise, if you tighten these two front ones up first, then you have a bit of a nightmare getting the rear plates on. Okay, so I'm pleased. The thing is, I'm not quite sure exactly what to do next, because I still haven't got the other bits back from the engineers, including the barrels. So I can't put the barrels on yet because they're having a rebore. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start rebuilding the gearbox, So at least get the inner cover on, if not the outer cover, get all that done, and then start doing the timing case. And we'll see how things fare with the other parts of the engineers. I rang him the other day and he said, and he was very nice. He said, look, basically he's got a lot of commercial things on, and they pay ridiculous amounts of money, and I mean ridiculous. I'll check with him how much, because he did tell me, and it was so much money that I'm not going to tell you in case I'm wrong, because I can't quite believe how much he charges them. But he said obviously they've got to come first, and that's the real reason for the delay. But he's going to try and get things back to me for the end of the week. So in the intervening time, I'll start rebuilding the gearbox and start doing the timing case. Okie dokie. But all well.